Welcome back to Just a Guy Reviews. I'm Matsula, and today's not-so-special presentation is David Gordon Green's The Exorcist, The Believer, or Exorcist Believer. Um, this is David Gordon Green's follow-up to his Halloween trilogy, which was Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. Halloween, the first one, Halloween, I actually thoroughly enjoyed. I thought it was a very good follow-up to the original Halloween and everything that came before it. Kills and Ends, terrible. Which is kind of why I had high hopes for this movie. I was thinking maybe maybe it just starts off strong. Maybe he learned from his mistakes. Maybe he'll figure it out and he'll do what is my favorite horror movie of all time and a top 4 movie of all time for me. Maybe he'll do The Exorcist justice. I was wrong. I was thoroughly wrong. I think this was a bad movie. I don't know what he was thinking here. I really don't know what the writers were thinking with what they did with this movie. The first act, when is actually pretty good, and then it just completely falls off a cliff from there. But this is supposed to act as a sequel to the original, as we see with the addition of Ellen Bernstein coming back as Chris McNeil, the mother of Reagan, who was possessed in the original movie. This movie is starring Leslie Odom Jr., who you might know from Hamilton, is Aaron Burr, and he was in Glass Onion as well. Ann Dowd is in this movie. Like I said, brings back Ellen Bernstein, and then the children are played by Olivia Markham and Lydia Jewett, who I think both of them did a pretty good job. But this movie, which the description reads as, when his daughter Angela and her friend Catherine show signs of demonic possession, it unleashes a chain of events that forces single father Victor Fielding to confront the nadir of evil. Terrified and desperate, he seeks out Chris McNeil, the only person alive who's witnessed anything like it before. My biggest issue with that right there is he seeks out Chris McNeil, the only person alive who's witnessed anything like it before. Sure, Reagan was certainly possessed the whole movie. What bothers me about it is Chris McNeil wasn't in the room when the exorcisms were going on. That was all Father Marin. That was all Father Karras. They were there. They actually fought the demon. So Chris McNeil pretty much had nothing to do with it other than putting on like a great performance, being worried, finding the priest, deciding to do an exorcism, all that shit. This movie, much like the original, has a prologue. The original, we're in northern Iraq with Father Marin, played by Max von Sydow, going on his like religious retreat where like you've got to basically find your faith again. Part of the movie that people seem to think is boring. There's no need for it. I love it. And also, you don't have a movie without it. But in this one, in Believer, we start off in Haiti with Victor and his pregnant wife, who are both photographers. They're going around Haiti taking pictures. Basically, what happens is there's the very famous earthquake that happened in Haiti. Pregnant wife is trying to escape the building that she's in. She gets trapped in the debris. She's not dead, but the doctors come up to Victor and say, you basically have to choose. We can't save both your wife and the baby. You got to choose. Fast forward some amount of years later, it's Victor and Angela, the daughter, just, being. This is one of those parts where they try to make it like the original, where, they pretty much do the same exact scene. In the original, Reagan steals a cookie from the cookie jar. Chris McNeil just chases her around the house very playfully. They're laughing. Ha, ha, ha. Same thing here, except Angela is, a vegan now. Victor's eating a piece of bacon. She steals the bacon like, you're a killer. Ha. They run around showing how close they are. They're laughing. They basically go the next 20 minutes Angela and her friend Catherine, after school one day, go off into the woods to perform some kind of ritual, some kind of spiritual ritual, because Catherine's family is a bunch of like evangelist Christians of some sort. So they want to like do a seance of sorts, so Angela can speak to her mother, her dead mother that she's never met. They end up going missing for 3 days. They show back up in a barn. Someone finds them, and what we come to find out is they think that they've been gone for like mere hours. Again, like I said, it was 3 days. They come back. Something's not right. Obviously, they show up in like bare feet. Their feet are, I think, burned. They have some kind of infection on their feet, and they start acting weird because they're possessed. Yada yada yada. The real issue I have with this movie is there's pretty much no subtlety at all. In the original, we know that Chris McNeil is not a religious person because they ask her, they say, "Are you religious?" The doctors ask her because they don't know what's wrong with Reagan. "Are you religious?" "No." "Is your daughter?" "I don't think so." Cool. They really let you know that Victor's not a religious person. Like in the beginning, they do some kind of ritual for his pregnant wife. He goes, "You really believe in that stuff?" And that would have been perfectly fine. Leave it right there. But then when people start seeing how they're acting, Ann Dowd, who is her neighbor and also a nurse, is like, "Oh, what about this?" Catherine's parents, "Oh, they're possessed." Like, he's not having it. He's like, "I'm not doing this God mumbo jumbo, yada yada yada." So they're really hitting you over the head with that. Like, again, no subtlety. He ends up starting to believe it more and more, which is when he goes to find Chris McNeil, who basically says, "I dealt with this with Reagan, yada yada yada." He goes, "Where's Reagan now?" "I don't know. She was mad after she wrote the book. She doesn't talk to her anymore." Good stuff. But then they go back. She's like, "I want to see the kids." She sees Angela. She looks at her and goes,
"She knows who I am."
Which they haven't interacted yet. Chris McNeil just goes, "She knows who I am." How the fuck do you know that? That's so stupid. How do you know that? Let the demon be like, "Hi, Chris. Like, would you like to speak to Reagan?" Which he does with the second girl, because she's like, "Where's the second girl?" "Oh, they're keeping her at home." She's like, Big mistake. Like, keeping them in the hospital is any different. They end up taking the girl out of the hospital just to go to a house to do whatever. It wasn't even an exorcism, whatever ritual they had to fight the demons. But they go to, again, Catherine's house, and Chris McNeil walks in and goes, "I know who you are. You know who I am." Demon known as Pazuzu in the original starts being like, "Oh, you want to speak to Reagan? She's in here with us," much like with Father Karras in the original with his mother, like, "She's in here with us." Bad stuff. Like, just, it would have been good. It would have been good if Chris McNeil isn't just like, "I know who you are," right off the bat. It could have been any demon. Let the demon be like, "I know who you are." All this shit. It's so stupid. And like I said, there are a bunch of forced references, like the dogs, which would have been fine. Keep that. There's the dogs. There's some readings or quotes that they say that mean nothing. One of the dumbest things was in the book that Chris McNeil wrote, which is basically like possession from a mother's perspective or something stupid like that. They reference when they lift up Reagan's shirt and on her skin reads "Help me" in the original. She wasn't there for that. They actually say, I forget the character's name, but she says, "I don't want Chris to see this." Like, she has no idea that happened. And yes, she references it in the book. Stupid. Very stupid. Eventually, they get to the big possession scene, or the big, like, ritual scene, where they don't have an exorcist. There was no exorcist in The Exorcist, believer. There was no Exorcist. Could you believe such a thing? You have The Exorcist without the main character. It's named after The Exorcist. The original is named after Father Mirren, who's in it for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe. But like he's the title character. You need an exorcist. You need a priest. They have a priest who's a total like shaking, quivering pussy the whole time. He comes in, tries to do his thing, and he gets killed in 2 seconds. He's done. Like, it was just so, the whole feel felt like Halloween Kills again, because in like the middle of the movie, Ann Dowd is going on this little rant about like, how do you defeat evil? We all have to stick together. People need to stick together. Love, yada yada yada. It's so dumb, so dumb. I don't want to give like too much away what happens, even though I don't think anyone should really go and like seek out this movie. But like I said, same thing in Halloween Kills. They have Jamie Lee Curtis in the hospital the whole time. Chris McNeil's character, or Ellen Bernstein's character, Chris McNeil, goes to Catherine's house. She stabs her in the eyes with a crucifix. Good stuff. And then she's in the hospital the rest of the movie. They set her up to be like a part of the movie. She shows up, gets her eyes hit, and then she just sits in the hospital, just like Halloween Kills. It was so stupid. So stupid. But I'm sorry. I got sidetracked because this movie made me so angry. They do the big like ritual without an exorcist. I don't know. Basically what happens is they don't defeat it. Basically what happens is the demon says, you need to choose. One of the girls is going to die. You guys get to choose who. And like I said, I'm not going to say I don't want to say big twist at the end, but it was like a little twist. I was like, oh, see, that's good. That was good. That was good stuff. Fuck it. I'm just going to say it anyways. It turns out in Haiti, when Victor had to choose between the wife and the daughter who's going to live, he says, save my wife. They didn't do it. They saved the child. The demon, I guess, goes into her memory and figures that out or something, because there's a whole scene where she's like, you didn't choose me, you chose mom, and now you have to choose again. They have to choose between the children. One of them lives, the other dies, and it was almost like It, where it just like goes away to come back another time, because we know it's going to be a trilogy, which is stupid. Like, again, there was nothing that the ritual did drove these demons out, or the demon out. There was no exorcism. There was nothing. There was fucking nothing. This movie was so goddamn stupid. And in the room, when they're doing the ritual, like in the original, it's Reagan, Father Mirren, Father Karras. 3 people. 3 people in the room for the exorcism. In this, they have the 2 girls. Catherine's parents, Victor, the neighbor, a preacher, and like, I think another friend, and the voodoo witch lady. That's 9 people. 9 people. It was so dumb. I really hated this movie. The more I think about it, the more I hate this movie. Anyways, one of the girls dies. The other one lives. We know it's a trilogy. They're coming back. But the worst part about this movie, the worst part, it actually made me groan at the end, was Chris McNeil's in the hospital. Door opens. She goes, Victor, is that you? And like, no, you knew exactly what it was going to be too. The second it happened, I thought they were going to, because of the trilogy, I thought they were going to wait for the second movie for this. Linda Blair just walks in. Reagan's like, no, Mom, it's me, Reagan. And the fucking movie ends. The movie's over. That's it. This movie was a absolute travesty. I knew going in it was going to be bad. I really did. I had high hopes. I wanted to be optimistic. I wanted to like it. It was the most disappointed I've ever been walking out of a movie theater. And some of the scores like are pretty accurate. Some are not. IMDb 5.2 out of 10. That's nuts. I guess the general public. I guess a lot of people have, like, especially younger people, haven't seen The Exorcist. They go to see this. Critics have it at 21%. 21%. That is fucking horrific. Till now, there's still no audience score. I don't even know how that's possible. I've never seen the audience score go this long without being updated. Letterboxd 2.5, fine. I gave it a 20 out of 100 purely because the beginning was pretty good, and then the rest was terrible. Now I will say, if this had a different title, if it wasn't called The Exorcist, I probably would like it more. But you're calling it The Exorcist. You're calling it my favorite horror movie of all time. And because of that, there's certain expectations that come with it. It's like Halloween. The first one, good. Then all of a sudden, it wasn't Halloween anymore. Like, this is why they'll never remake Jaws, or there's never been another shark movie to even come close to Jaws. So Steven Spielberg will not let them remake E.T. Like, there's just certain movies that should not be redone. I know there are already sequels to The Exorcist. I haven't seen them because I've heard they're absolute trash. This movie, I can't imagine them being worse than this because this was just awful. I hated it so much. But 20 out of 100 here from me. I'm actually like defeated after seeing this movie. I hated it so much, and the more I talk about it, the more I hate it more. I will see the next one when it comes out. I'll reserve a little bit of judgment, a little bit, until the next one. Maybe it makes it better. It was kind of like Dune. Like, although Dune was just a great movie, but we know there's going to be a part 2. So like, it didn't tie together great at the end, but we know that there's going to be something that wraps up, much like Lord of the Rings. This again didn't wrap up nice at all. It felt rushed, which is crazy. Like, just let it breathe when you know it's going to be a trilogy. Just let it breathe. They like rushed. And I hated it. I hated it. The first 35 minutes is the only reason it's even at a 20. 20 out of 100, final score. Be sure to let me know in the comments what you thought about the movie. Please like the video. It helps out a lot. Subscribe to the channel. And I might be making one of these for the original just so I can do something positive after this shit. I saw it the night before in theaters for the first time, the original, and it made me love it even more. But that's going to be it for me, guys. 20 out of 100 on this shit movie. According to my rankings at the moment, it's the third worst movie I saw this year. But that'll be it for me. Once again, take care.
She burns in hell!